Welcome back to the Rise with Anita podcast. This is the space where ambition meets embodiment, where soul meets strategy, and where we explore what it truly means to become the woman you're meant to be. If you've ever found yourself thinking, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, when I find the relationship, when I slow down, well, today's conversation is for you. Because what if happiness isn't waiting for you on the other side of an achievement, but rather it's something we've been conditioned away from? Joining me today is Rebecca L. Norrington, a happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, a oracle author and podcast, just to name a few, who spent decades studying psychology, spirituality, and human behavior. She's the author of Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, and the international bestseller of Programmed for Unhappiness. And for over a decade, she's hosted Reality Spirituality Radio. That's a tongue twister. Taking real callers through real life crises live every single Sunday. Rebecca, welcome again to the show. I'm so glad to be here.
Let's say this. This is take 3, honey, and this is how we do it. And this is life. Life always, there is a curveball around every corner. And so the practice is to just flow with whatever is happening. The suffering comes from resisting the moment as opposed to accepting the moment. And resisting that take 3, listen, who knows? Maybe they're going to be a take 4, take 5. It doesn't matter. Everything is in order. But that's a practice. And my definition of happiness is the ability to maintain and sustain a personal vibration of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens and regardless of how many takes this podcast is going to have to be, whether it's 4, whether it's 5, whether it's 110. I'm 70 years old. I can't take too much more. But let's go. See, easy.
Beautiful. Well, before we dive in, my listeners know I love helping everyone arrive together. So if you're able to and you're not driving or operating heavy machinery, please place your feet on the floor. Allow your shoulders to soften. And we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose for 4. We're going to hold for 6, 2, 3, 5, 6. And gently release through the mouth for 6. Oh, again, we're going to do one more breath in deeply through the nose for 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and release. And we're just going to allow ourselves to arrive exactly as you are. No fixing, no striving. We're just going to be present. As this episode keeps reinforcing, we just got to keep the presence in the present.
And so you ask, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Before we usually dive in, the standard question I like to ask is, what is bringing you joy in the season?
Let's see. Let me think about that. I've only answered it twice already. Let me answer it again in a different way. What brings me joy, what brings me contentment is the ability to live in the present moment without judgment, without wanting anything to be different, to surrender what is, to surrender to reality, to flow without any kind of, oh God, this needs to be different. I don't want this to happen. This thinking or believing that there is an unwanted moment. No such thing. This is it.
Beautiful. So, for the backstory, she's already mentioned this is our 3rd take of this podcast episode. The first take was going on pretty great. I thought so. We got pretty into it. And then my internet cut out. So that was a perfect opportunity to exercise. Well, what do? Do you panic? Do you freak out? I was more so astonished at the fact that that was when universe, source, God decided my internet would cut out. But, you know, we both believe that all conversations happen in the way that we're meant to, and for whatever reason, that was not the conversation you guys are meant to hear. So, it's interesting though, because Rebecca over here was just calm and cool as a cucumber, and she's just giving us the grace to continue filming. So I'm just going to take a moment to say thank you for your patience and for just letting life flow.
And that is a practice. Happiness is a practiced skill. It's a practice. And it's really being mindful and being conscious and being aware. You are either reacting to life or responding to life. And responding requires consciousness, and responding requires a lot of times a pause. But the reacting, you know, when you're reacting, when something is said and you're triggered, well, that's a reaction. Or someone cuts you off in traffic, you flip them off, that's another reaction. So know when you react, no offense, but you're just being a robot, a programmed robot. Did I say no offense? No offense.
Okay. Well, to put you on the spot, do
Well,
you ever find yourself being the programmed robot?
hell yes. That's why it's a continual practice. But and when the trigger or the buttons are pushed and I react, Rebecca got out. Oh, she's free. Oh, she's spreading her wings. But I've been doing this for decades, Anita, decades, and there either I am creating peace or drama in any moment, and not to judge or not to criticize self. Yeah, it happens, but guess what? It's happening less and less and less, because I used to have a real big problem with stupid questions, really big problem. Stupid questions and customer service. Oh, customer service. Customer service with, is there anything else I can help you with? Now the new customer service line is, "Let me recap the conversation." Oh, Rebecca's just crazy, just wants to get off the phone, but guess what? She's not in charge, and when she is, there's only discontentment. So, yes, choosing peace is not choosing this human Rebecca. Oh, yeah, triggered. That's why I don't identify with her. She's full of drama. Ugh. But she serves a purpose. She serves a purpose, and her purpose is to make sure I take showers and I don't mix paisleys with stripes and I, you know, hair, teeth. But yeah, other than that, I practice not identifying too much with the human side. "Oh, she's
Beautiful.
crazy." "Yes, she is." "What?"
Ah, you're another one who talks like to themselves. I love it. At least, you know what? I'm gonna give you props because a lot of people don't even show that side of themselves because they're so afraid of the judgment that comes up with it. And you just own who you are and your essence. And I want to take a moment for that. Granted, I guess you could say it comes with wisdom of age.
Well, everybody's different, and that's another thing that I had to really practice, accepting these other people, people that are not like me. I remember thinking, listen how crazy this is. I remember thinking, if the world was more like me, it'd be a better place. No, no. The universe wants to experience, I use the term universe. You can use God, creator, source, higher power, whatever term. It's totally okay with me. I am not triggered by any word or any way somebody describes it. However, other people, the practice is to accept them. Yeah, they're different. And just like comedians, I don't think I don't think Kevin Hart is funny, but I think Cat Williams is hysterical. So it's just being different and without judging other people. That's another practice. Not easy.
How did you get to a place where you separated yourself from judgment of
Because
oneself or others?
in my latest book, Programmed for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, there are 56 program behaviors, level 1, level 2, level 3. And if I claim to be a happiness specialist, then every one of these program behaviors has to have a spotlight on it, and it with patience and with commitment and with focus, each one of these program behaviors is eliminated. 56 program behaviors. Let's see, level 1. Blaming, just a quick example, blaming anyone or the circumstances for how you're feeling. Oh, I'm feeling this way because anything external. Comparing myself to anyone else, trying to control anyone or anything outside of self, complaining, talking negatively about someone else. Nobody does that. But when you do that, it is a program. It's subtracting from your own peace. Why would I want to drink poison? Why would I want to shoot myself in the foot? Number one is peace and contentment over everything else. And so it's just being aware of it and valuing that.
Beautiful. I love that you just hit it right home with blame and comparison, because I feel like two of the biggest things that I see with clients, just with people in general, even with myself, because hello, we are all a work of progress. I'm not claiming to be Jesus Christ working out in full perfection here, but it's interesting because blame and comparison are some of the top two things that I see, whether it's, to your point, blaming the circumstance, blaming other people. So I'm curious for you, at what point did you really shift out of or observe that it was impacting you in a negative way? And how did you learn to actually create the I don't have to attach to the blame or the circumstance for how I feel? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So this journey of I shared in I think it was the first take, that when I was younger, when you make a wish, you blow out the candles on your birthday cake. I always wish for the same two things. I wanted to live to my potential. I didn't have anything specific. Live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. And I mean, that was number one bullseye. I want it to be happy. Why can't I be happy all the time? That was the question that I had. And I believe that when I ask the universe why, a question, when I ask, I always get an answer. And so it's really a study. I named about 4 or 5 level 1 program behaviors. Complaining and comparing is a program. When you're 2 years old, 3 years old, you're not comparing yourself with the other little toddler in the playpen. So it's a program behavior. Even rushing, that's a program. How do you feel? Do you feel at peace when you're rushing?
No.
Exactly, but that's another program. Rushing, being impatient is another program. So it's how do I eliminate? How do I get rid of? It's just like washing your hands, getting rid of dirt. How do I do that? With time and with patience. And 56 program behaviors is a lot, honey, a lot. And let me just jump to level 3, just to blow everybody away. Everybody put your seatbelts on, crash helmets on, whatever you need to protect yourself. Here we go. Level 3, a level 3 program behavior is, 2 of them, is thinking anything is serious or anything is important. Oh, I knew I like that face. Well, this is serious. This is important. Uh, no, it's not. It is serious and important is a judgment. All judgments subtract from happiness.
Mm. Wow. Okay, so no, it's not. What do you mean by this is where you have me mind blown. Because so you're saying, all right, serious and important is a judgment, and it's not necessarily. Are you talking in the grand scheme of life? Is that your
Everything,
perspective or in the moment?
everything. I know, it hurts. I know. That's why I don't have any friends. But hmm, how do I explain this? Thinking that something is serious or thinking that something is important, where was that learned? Early on.
Conditioning. You're right.
So it's really digging really deep and what losing my wallet. I'm just being very, very, shallow here. Losing my wallet, that's serious. That's important. It's one perspective, and I'll say this, if if I'm not able, because I speak for only me, if I'm not able to come up with another perspective, even around something like cancer, when my best friend's wife has cancer now, breast cancer, not, it's not, "Oh, that's serious important." It is what it is. I'm gonna go visit her with, oh, it's just her journey. It's something that it's that she is supposed to experience. I know, sounds out there, but with that extra energy, your journey is still gonna be what it is, but with that extra heaviness, it's a heaviness behind, serious important. That isn't healing, that isn't light, that
Mm.
isn't universal. I get it. Listen, this world is full of a lot of crap, and it's very difficult to hear someone, "Oh, phew, it's not serious." Well, know that when you believe that, just know that that's a program, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I like the example you gave because I will be someone who can stand up and actually say, I watched my grandpa pass away from cancer. And I was very much, well, there was phases to the diagnosis and whatnot. And he and I were very close. But one thing in the first, especially the first few months, what we found out was we were not really treating the cancer like, oh, it's this big thing. It was, how can we still find other ways? Maybe it's frequency healing, maybe it's the energetics behind it. How do we find alternatives? How do we make him laugh? Bring a little more joy back into his day to day because we understood that cancer, while it's a disease, it was part of his chosen journey, and unfortunately, it was what he passed from. But when I was going through that experience, I did recognize, for whatever reason, his soul has chosen this. And for whatever reason, my soul has chosen to walk through this journey with him. So all I can do is be present. And sure, were there days that were not easy, especially when it's someone you love very much? Yeah. But at the same time, it was getting to a place of, and I think the most beautiful part is the lesson afterwards. So I look at even the last week of his life, and there's a lesson in that week that am now able to take to embody in my own life to actually share. And so it's from a greater perspective than, oh, I lost my grandpa to pancreatic cancer. So it's interesting. With that being said, I'm curious though, what is your take on grief then?
Well, let me go back. You said of so many good things. I just wanna go back and touch on just a couple. Okay, when you were talking, my body got all chilled up. I got chills from you saying that truth and sharing that's personal. Oh, hold on a sec. Don't go anywhere. I have a prop. It's not a prop, but I have a photo. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Hold on, right here. Hold on. I'm coming back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. It's so beautiful the way you said it. Oh, laughing. Laughing. I got chills. Laughter is medicine. The other thing that you said, you used a word that I never use. Words have mm, don't everybody seatbelt, helmet, astronaut suit, do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. The program says that words are powerful. Yeah, words are powerful. No, energy is powerful. Words are just letters strung together. But certain words, when said a certain way, have an energy attached to them. So I never use the word unfortunately, ever. I don't use that word. I don't use mistake. I don't use should. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. Let's talk about death. Well, no. This photo, I don't know if can you see it?
Beautiful.
So this photo was taken, that's my son. This was taken in 2008, 1 hour after I buried my father.
Mm.
And why? We were talking about my dad, and my father was a jokester. And my son, because my son flew in to go to the service, and we were sitting on the beach, and he says, "Mom," he says, "how do you feel? How do you feel now that Gramps is dead?" And Gramps is dead? Joke. Hour after I buried him. In other words, I don't know if anyone out there has children, but I feel it's my responsibility to share with my son there's another way of responding after I die, if I die before he dies. And the whole thing, grief, oh gosh, oh, that's another program. It's another program.
Okay, so tell me more.
Well, it's not, I understand feeling a certain way after, and this is another program. When someone dies, it's the programmed word is loss. I lost my sister. I lost my father. But how about this? How about changing the word to death is a change? It's a change. Lost? You see how the program is so deep? It's really deep. So I get it, grief, and there's a lot of people out there that, "Ooh, oh, this really is bad. Oh, this is terrible." Addicted to grief. Addicted to that program, grief. One woman I remember, because I teach a class, it's called The Truth About Happiness. She told me she was addicted to feeling sad. Yeah, so that's what that is. Not poo-pooing on it, not judging anybody because of it, but it is another program.
Mhm. Well, firstly, I like the word transitioned. Usually that's how I frame it because he's a soul and it's not like his soul disappeared, it just changed forms. But interesting. So, for someone who is dealing with grief and okay, I get the perspective of a person could be addicted to an emotion because it makes them feel a certain way or maybe it makes them feel connected is another thing that comes to mind, but how do you consciously choose to turn away from grief to maybe a different perspective? I know that you brought up joking, but what's another method someone could use?
Well, the joking, I made a joke in the moment, and I don't want it to sound flip of joking, "Hey, somebody died." That's and all of us are so different, so I understand it, but all I'm saying is recognize that it is a programmed behavior. That how about because the grief, okay, how about this? I'm gonna ask a question. Isn't grief focusing on a loss? Isn't grief focusing on, mm, is it focusing on memories? Is it focusing on gratitude? Can you grieve and be grateful at the same time?
Actually, I can answer this because it's still pretty fresh for me. Yes. And the caveat is I'm grateful for the lessons he's taught me. I'm grateful for the times we spent. But there's always that like little piece of like, I think it's more so in my case. I can't speak to everybody, but for me, I think there's a part of me that grieves the loss of the experiences we would have had in the physical. Now, do I think that he's not going to be able to witness those? Not necessarily, but it's that in the physical form, there are things that in my mind, and again, I guess that could go into another topic of expectations. I had these thoughts of he will be at my wedding, he will see me do my first speaking event, etc., etc. So, I guess to your point, if we are looking at it from a perspective of choosing our feelings and choosing our awareness, that has to go into the hand of expectations, which is probably something we should be talking about.
You know, I'm chilling up. My whole body is chilled up. Now we're on, I said 56 program behaviors, which are all in the book, that program for unhappiness. This is level 2. This is a program behavior. And you know, you said something, so you already hit on 2. No, I'm just going to list a couple of them before I get to the bullseye. Noticing what someone else is doing. That's a program behavior. Wanting someone else to think, oh, this is a tough one. Wanting someone else to think what you think is important is important. All expectations. That's a program behavior. And the other one, living in the past, living in the future. Living in the future is a program behavior. So
Fair enough.
how does that feel to the soul? How does that feel? How does that affect your energy? All expectation. That's a hard one. That's really one of the hardest ones is people tell me, well, that's hard to eliminate expectations. Yeah, this shit is hard. That's why it's a road less traveled. It is the hardest practice I've ever done in my life. And I'm 70, still practicing. Don't tell anybody I'm 70, please. Yeah, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. 0 expectations. I have a son who's older than you, he's 41. Do I expect him to call me? No. Does he call me sometimes? Do I expect him to text me right back? No. Do I expect anything from him? In fact, needing something from someone else so I can feel better? That's not love. That's another control or manipulation. You guys better keep your seatbelts on. Yeah.
Ooh,
And let me
she's
get that.
hitting hard.
Yeah, this is another hard one. Sorry. I mean, come on. I don't have time. I've got maybe 3 decades left, maybe 2. Who knows? Worrying. Let's hit worrying, because when I ask people, they usually say, I ask them, do you worry? 98%, yeah, I worry. It's normal. I've heard it's normal. No, it's not normal. It's a programmed behavior. And worrying but it's not your fault. You were programmed. Either you were taught by mother, father, doesn't matter, but you were taught.
Society.
And whatever you learned, you can unlearn. The other thing with worrying is it indicates a lack of practicing trust. You can't trust and worry at the same time. But now let's get even deeper. And worrying can also be an addiction, but let's even get deeper. If you tell anybody that you're worried about them, the program world will say, oh, that just means I care about them. I love them. I worry. Of course, they're my children. Of course I worry. No. How does it feel when someone worries about you? Does it feel good?
No, of
I'm
course
worried
not.
about you, Anita. Does that feel good? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So don't think that that's love, number 1. That's just control and manipulation, especially if you tell them, "Call me when you get there so I don't worry." No, your worry is your own responsibility. You see why I don't have any friends? It's your own responsibility, and it's not indicating, and it has nothing to do with love. It has something to do with control and wanting someone else to do something so you'll feel better. That is your responsibility, your feelings.
So essentially, you're just saying that anytime we outsource an emotion, we are outsourcing our happiness to an extent. And that's where our
What I'm
suffering comes from. Yes?
what I'm saying is, what I'm saying, yes, and I'm also saying that these program behaviors are real. 56 is a lot of programming. And so
Mm.
it's specifically, so let's see. Uh-oh, here we go. Getting embarrassed. That's another program behavior. You show me a 2-year-old who isn't picking in his nose or digging anywhere else, he could care less. Spit hanging out, could care less. I saw this little kid, this was a couple years ago in an airport, and he was just jumping around, probably he was 4 or 5, jumping around, crazy looking, crazy acting. He could care less what anybody thought. So what is getting embarrassed means? It's another program, and it means that you care about what other people think.
Mhm.
Lack of acceptance, having an agenda, having hate, disdain, or dislike for anyone else, including yourself. Having an sense of urgency that something needs to change now, unless you're in danger. Something needs to change now. We need to change. That's another program. Level 3, giving power to words. Thinking anything is serious or important, having preferences, resisting the present moment. Having regrets. I regret. We're still in the past. Yeah, this
Okay.
is not easy. That's why I'm sitting here.
No, it's
It's
not.
not an
But
it's
okay, I'm so curious now because I know that there's going to be a listener who's going to go, well, where the hell do I start?
great question. There is I don't know if I mentioned this already on this. There is a study. It's a very famous study. You can Google it. It's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. And so these people had days to live, weeks to live, months to live. And the 5th regret is, I wish I would have been happier. How do you start? You start by getting very committed, focused on your own contentment. Not the world, your contentment, your energy of contentment, your energy of peace, and wanting it like you need to breathe, my dear Anita. Wanting it like you need to breathe to that level. Not sometimes, all the time.
Beautiful.
That's how you start.
Okay, well, your question just brought up another question. What if a person is so programmed, as you would say, or so used to being told by either society, family, friends, whatever, how they should be operating? How do they find their true north of what their contentment is? If they just feel like, oh my God, that's unfamiliar.
Well, growth is very uncomfortable. It is so it it's the biggest challenge. It's the hardest challenge that I've ever had to face is growing. But when you start little baby steps, baby. Maybe don't have an expectation of someone that you care about. Stop expecting them to behave in a certain way. Start off very small. I read this the other day. It was about the lotus plant and how it is rooted in mud and sludge and crap, but look at the beauty and that mud and that that uncomfortable feeling and that ugh, I get it too. but know what's on the other side of that and be willing, not only be willing, but wanting something that that's not familiar, wanting something that the majority of people could care less about. I, you know, that's what I would say.
Beautiful answer. So, man, there's a lot of places I could take this conversation, but I'm curious because you have a lot of feelings about our stories and the stories we tell ourselves and triggers. So there's a lot of angles I could really take this, but I want you to really rehash because I don't think we've done it in this iteration of the podcast, but I want you to go ahead and rehash for the listener what happens when you are committed and addicted to your story.
When you say your story, I'm going to let's get more specific because this is kind of general. Let's get more specific. What story are you committed to, my dear Anita?
Well, I'm I was more so thinking of something from the past because we all have something that whatever experience maybe you're carrying forth with you. And that's also if we think about it. So for example, if a person has had a relationship that's gone sideways, maybe they afterwards create a story, they've attached a meaning to it, where now all men are bad, so I can't trust men. So therefore, I'm just going to stay single, for example. And I'm pretty sure this was in our first iteration, but you were talking about how anytime we are attached to the past, or in this case, you even mentioned in the future, and we're lacking the ability to be in the present moment, we are disconnecting from ourselves and our souls. So, just generally speaking, what is your take on how do we create that presence consciously where we aren't so hung up on our past experiences, which are then carrying forth our future?
Well, it is a practice to say, "Oh, I'm in the past, I'm thinking about the past." Know that everything that let me just speak for myself. I let me speak for myself. I practice not living in the past. Definitely not the future unless I have to get on a plane or I've got a podcast interview. And so it is a practice, but let me just share something that this may shed a light on a lot of things. This is a true story, happened to little old me back in September 2021, and it has a title. The story is titled, "A Moment in the Life of a Toxic, Selfish, Delusional, and Unimportant Happiness Specialist." Ooh. So in
Well,
September
talk about a
2021,
story.
this is a story. This is a story. Listen to this one. So 2021, I attended a marketing event, networking event, and it was attended by Jeff Hoffman. He's the guy that started Priceline, the gentleman that created Uggs, the shoes. He was there, billionaires and millionaires. So these people were speakers, and there was one guy who I kept locking my eyes on him, and he was a speaker. His name is Walter O'Brien. You can Google him. Walter O'Brien is worth $50 million. He's the inspiration for the CBS show Scorpion. I don't know if you've seen it. I'd never heard of it. He's got an IQ of 197. He supposedly stopped terrorist attacks in the United States. And for some reason, I wanted to talk to him. And the speakers were very generous with their time. I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "Hey, Mr. O'Brien." See, this is way more important than this legal secretary crap. I said, "Mr. O'Brien, I'd like to talk to you. I'm a happiness specialist." I introduced myself. And before I could say anything else, he said, "I would never hire you to work in any of my companies because what you do is toxic." Toxic? See, your face is a program face. Toxic? I said, happiness specialist. I started laughing and I said, tell me more, which he proceeded to do. He said, Walter O'Brien, I've wasted 35 years of my life studying and pursuing happiness. I've contributed 0 to the planet. Searching for happiness and inner peace is delusional. This is my favorite one. What I've accomplished can't be measured. Therefore, I've accomplished nothing. He said I was selfish, already toxic. He said, and if the people that I counsel, if they don't employ 1,000 individuals, then I'm wasting their time. Now, question, why was I able to laugh when someone's looking me right in the eye and say I'm toxic and say, tell me more?
Because you weren't attached to what he was saying.
It's because of what I practice. And if I can practice it, so can you. So can anyone. Number 1, words innately do not have power. I know the masses have have believed that words are powerful, but it's only because of a program. And the other thing, whatever anybody calls you, whether it's a narcissist, racist, arrogant, whatever they call you, rude, know that they're really speaking about themselves. Ouch. Number 2, it's never personal. That's another program, taking anything personally. It's not personal, what he was saying to me. And the other thing is, there are 360 degrees in a circle. And so I practice not the mind, but I practice knowing that there are other perspectives. And this was just his. And the last thing is, what does a man with the hump in his back want more than anything else? The man that walks around, can't stand up straight, he's got a hump in his back. What does he want more than anything else?
To be
He
able to
doesn't want
stand
to
up.
he doesn't want to stand up straight. He doesn't want the hump removed. He wants you to have a hump too.
Who
Misery doesn't
loves
only
company?
yeah, it doesn't not loves company, it needs company. So that what a great, that was one of the best nights of my life, only because what I've been practicing, and that was in 2021. I didn't even separate myself from Rebecca then. I was a Rebecca then. Yeah. So it's this whole growth, and the journey is being patient and being kind to yourself and giving yourself an A+ for whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you've done, you still get an A+. The awareness is the work.
Which I always say awareness is how we start to create a change, because if you're not aware, you can't fix the problem. Or even, see, that's also probably, now that I'm talking to you, you're going to say that's probably a pattern and a programming, because who says we actually need to change it? But it's
And
interesting.
who said it's a problem? See, a problem is another judgment.
Fair enough. Going back to the point of words, though, because you did hit a point on our society, especially in the coaching industry, and I am guilty of this. So I'm telling you guys, I am human experience, real time. But we often do say, especially the words after I am, are a big thing to pay attention to. And you're saying that even words have no inherent meaning, unless it's the meaning that we assign to it. So my curiosity for you then is, how do you differentiate? So if words have no power, essentially, are you saying the words you believe about yourself have no power as well?
I'm not saying words have no power. I say words do not have power unless you're programmed. When you're programmed, you definitely believe that they have power. That's a program. A program belief and a program behavior. And who's more powerful? The person that is moved by a word, the person that can be offended by a word, or the one that's not? The person that can have their feelings hurt or not? See, I'm responsible for you heard all those things that that Walter O'Brien said to me? Oh, by the way, I forgot. I forgot. After all of that, I asked him for a selfie. I have a selfie with him, which is my best. I love it. Hold on, let me find it. September. Yeah, I said, "Can I have a selfie with you, please?"
So
Yeah.
you
It was
wanted to rehash that moment.
I wanted to memorialize it because it's evidence that the practice works. That if I'm not offended by a word, that you can't hurt my feelings, you can't make me feel a certain way, y you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. Let me see,
Fair enough.
September. I don't think I had a lot of
I'm
well, I don't
curious, have
know.
you reconnected with him at all since?
No, but I got his name out. People know who he is now. I love him. I love him because he brought where is Mr. O'Brien? He brought evidence that this practice works. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I found it. This is right after you. Here it is. You can Google him. He's huge. I mean, is what the world would say. Yeah. Ha ha. So back to you
Crazy.
and saying words. Yeah. A word. But it's not easy. It's not easy because of the programming. But no one I'm not gonna put the blame on someone else saying a word or a symbol or anything that's gonna make me feel, "Oh," because if they can make me feel like this, they can make me feel like that. I'm the one that's powerful. I'm the power. In fact, I was giving a talk, this was 15, 20 years ago, and there was a little girl, she was a toddler in diapers, and I was just at the point there was probably about 25 people in the room. It was at my chiropractor's office, and this woman brought her little girl, and I was just at the point talking about words have no power. And of course, for most people, yes, they do. Of course, they have power. And then I get thrown at me the scientific study where the crystals change shape because of the word, hate, hate, hate. There's an energy behind that. Because if you say the word hate with a love, hate, I hate you. The energy, it's an energy. It's not the word. But anyway, I picked up this little girl and I started insulting her. I said, "You sure are stupid. You're not going to amount to anything. You're ugly and your parents are losers too." Oh, I was going on and on. And of course, the adults were, but the little girl, as soon as I put her down, she just kept playing. She wasn't programmed at that time to be insulted or to be offended.
I'm curious, how old would you say she was at that point?
She was probably between 2 and 3
So she was unbothered, which therefore
at
proves your
all.
point of programming. So I'm curious though, obviously you've learned that there's a lot of different programming. So obviously, I believe you said there's 50 some odd in your book. But for the person who's like listening to this going, okay, Rebecca, this is great. I am highly programmed. And guess what? We are. But
Myself
tactically
included.
speaking,
Myself included. Go
tactically
ahead.
speaking, how does one start to shift out of that programming? And where would you recommend they start? Like, what is your ideal step one? Or if a client came up to you right now and said, I am going through a lot of worry, is a big one that you were talking about, or I'm going through a lot of suffering in this moment. Actually, hold on. We're going to pause that question for a second because I really want you to shed your perspective on what suffering actually is.
Well, you tell me what you believe suffering is. You know what suffering is. What do you think suffering is, Anita? Suffering is staying stuck and believing the stories with one perspective.
Fair enough. All right. So, shifting the question a little bit, how do you get to a perspective of a different perspective? Seeing it
Well,
from a different lens.
let's do it live right now. So we talked about grief a little bit earlier because this is helpful. You know, that for me, I think the general and let's get real specific. So you were talking about grief. How can you shift your perspective about grief?
The best podcasts are always the one that I get flipped on. You know what? My big thing is, and I have waves where maybe I'll cry or I'll miss him because, again, he and I were very close. But a big thing that I've started to look at it as is even in those moments where like a wave will come, and I do consider them waves of maybe emotions, I look at it more from the perspective of I am grieving the loss simply because I loved him so much in his present form, what he was for me. And I still love him to this day. Obviously, that hasn't shifted at all. So it's just more of a reminder than it is a constant battle for me.
I'm getting chills again. So here we go. You see, now you just described what a story is. I'm crying because I loved him so much and I'm feeling the loss. Uh-oh, this is a big one. Let's take out the story. Uh-oh. I'm crying because it's time to cry. Period. When does the volcano erupt? When it's time. See, when I used to live in Oregon in my dream home, and I go back and sometimes when I reminisce and there's tears, I know that I'm not gonna attach a story to my emotion. There's a very his name is Guy Finley, and this is my favorite quote of his. He says, "The feel is real, but the why is a lie."
Okay, so I'm just curious then, because you brought this up. So, say you do have what you think is a wave of emotion coming up. If you are not attaching the story to it, what do you look at that perspective from the emotion of? Does that make sense? Like,
Mhm.
because usually a part of the way we identify is through the story or the emotion that's carrying behind it. But if you're saying it's just a wave of an emotion that's coming up and you want to detach the why, what is your lens at that point?
See, it's a programmed story. Don't forget to put programmed in front of the story.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm human and I'm here to experience a lot of different emotions, from lightness to heaviness to and I said I don't know which one, but I said I don't label my emotions. I'm just feeling. So what I say if I'm crying, because I cry a lot, I'm in a moment and just tears just overwhelm, and I know I'm not gonna attach a story because that's not the truth. It's not the truth.
Mm.
I'm just crying, and that's the thing. Can we get to the truth? See, the reason why the mind shoots out stories, because the mind needs to survive. And if I weaken the mind or the ego, whatever you wanna call it, if I weaken it, I don't give it any power, guess what? It start identifying with me. This is you. I'm you. No, I'm crying because it's time. I'm laughing because it's time. I'm feeling open because it's time. I'm feeling uninspired because it's time. Period. Can we
Mm.
keep it simple?
Beautiful. Definitely going to be something I guarantee our listeners will need to re listen to because we are so attached to our programming about our stories. And it's funny because as a coach, we talk about limiting beliefs, and that's a whole nother subject. But we obviously attach our stories to those beliefs as well. And that's what ends up carrying into our future. But I'm curious now, shifting gears one more time, because before you go into your titles, typically, usually, and we didn't bring this up in the introduction, so apologies for that, but you usually start off with how you are a mom. So I'm curious, what did motherhood teach you about happiness and life that your books couldn't?
What a program question. So this sorry, did I say that out loud? Oops.
Hey, we're going real and raw here.
Let me say this. When my son was in junior high, and this happened when he was in junior high, he signed my name to his report card. Well, because he couldn't come to his mother with his report card. And my best friend told me, I don't even know what grade he got. It was either a C or a D. I don't know. And I never said get A's because that's what happened to me, and I didn't want to do that to him. But my best friend told me, he says, that's your fault. Your fault that he signed his name because he can't come to you because you're a raging maniac, which is what I used to be, a bitch on wheels. You are a maniac. And when he said it's your fault, something clicked, and I said, I knew I had to change. I had to shift. I had to be different because I wanted him to be able to come to me for anything. So it was my responsibility as a mom, including how to react or respond to death, my death, or anyone's death. Not that he has to laugh, but I'm giving him other options that aren't the programmed options. So
See?
that was my motivation, is to get on this journey of finding out what is the truth. It's either the truth or it's not. It has nothing to do with my truth, your truth. It's the truth that everything that happens, there is a reason and a purpose behind it. I'm going to say that it was my destiny to be on this journey and share with people what I've learned. And again, either you are inspired with about what I'm saying or you're not. It's okay, because there's many ways to get to peace and contentment, and we're all so different.
You see, I know that you think this was a whole great programmed question,
Oh,
but but if we didn't get to the root of it, technically I don't think we would have gone into the root of where your exploration came, the heart of your work. Because if we're looking at it, you wanted to learn how to be a more happier, less reactive version of yourself for your son.
I want
So
it to
I
be, you know what I say? I say I'm the human example of the universe. Ooh, that's a lot. A human example of the universe. How the universe behaves is what I practice how to behave, which
Mm.
is non-judgmental. The sun shines on the serial killer and the Pope. Not judgmental. Flowing, allowing all of this crap to happen. Yeah, that's what I practice, being a human example of the universe. Do I
Okay,
have
so
it 100%? Of course not, but I'm always on it. I'm there. Breathe in, breathe out.
what does flowing look like for you?
Resisting nothing. Surrendering to every moment with
Mm.
a smile.
Okay, what does surrender look like for you?
Surrender and flowing is the same. Just surrendering to the reality, surrendering to which is all an illusion anyway, but surrendering to every moment with
Mm.
ease, with grace, with the lightness, with fun, with the laugh.
She took a deep breath, y'all. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, the breathing works.
It works.
Okay, well, to piggyback off that, you just touched on surrender and flow. I'm curious now, talk to me about the resistance. What do you do when you yourself have the resistance come up?
Well, I already know that it's a you can feel it in your energy. It doesn't feel peaceful.
Mhm. Right.
And my focus and commitment is to be the energy of peace. And so that's when the tug of war, that's when the struggle is with the mind, because the mind does not listen, the components of the mind is to find discontentment, find something wrong with the moment. There needs to be more. You're not going to find peace with the mind. Its nature is to be discontent. So I'm either vibrating an energy of satisfaction or dissatisfaction in any moment. You can feel
Mhm.
it.
Fair point. Beautiful answer. So I'm curious then. You have resistance come and you're dissatisfied. Say, for the sake of today's example, both could have been in a high state of dissatisfaction as we were dealing with
Are
our
we
tech
he?
issues. Hey, you're on the other side. You are also a human, right? But neither of us created or attached a story. Mine was just more so mind blown because I was just like, what is happening here? I've never had so much something around a podcast interview. And then when you texted me, let me just say, when you texted me about the frequency being off the charts, I was like, yep, that's probably it. But we both had like a sense of humor and a sense of calm towards this. So my curiosity is, when you have something that could be giving you massive resistance in the moment, what is your shift? How do you recognize it? Well, I mean, now it's a practice, so haha, there's the answer, y'all. But what do you do to change your state?
Well, see, okay, here we go with the changing state. No, it comes back to here we go. In what? Okay, you're a youngster, you're a whippersnapper, and for all you old people listening to this, if you are, we know what whippersnapper means. It just means like a little young pup. Here we go.
I had to Google it the first time she used that word, by the way.
It's so funny. She was insulted. Well, that's what it means. I don't like that meaning. Come on, get over yourself, little youngster. But so but this is really important what you brought up. Number 1, if you feel any resistance, you're feeling resistance, and we all do. I use that word "we," I don't usually use it, but people feel resistance. Acceptance. Acceptance of the moment, acceptance of the resistance, no judging, no criticizing. I said you get an A+. plus. Acceptance is the first one. Then practice being conscious and saying, "Okay, I'm resisting in this moment. Next time, possibly I won't." Growth takes time. Growth takes patience. You know, when a baby is born, you're not yelling at the baby, "Hey, hurry up and start walking, grow some teeth, start feeding yourself. Can't you dress? Why don't you go to school?" No, there's always patience with and so there is patience with self. But the whole programming of I should be farther along. I speak to this one gentleman, he was in his 40s. I'm supposed to be doing more than what I'm doing. No, you're supposed to be doing exactly what you're doing at the right time. It's acceptance. Lack of acceptance is another program.
Mm. Well, you just hit 2 points back to back that we have to dive into now, which is acceptance, because most of us are very self-critical if we're looking at it from a honest perspective. And then secondly, you hit on that feeling of being behind and feeling um like you should be further along. To which I usually ask by whose standards, but I'm curious though, because acceptance being the first aspect of it, how do you ease into acceptance? Because a lot of us, you don't go from discontentment to acceptance in a snap of a finger.
And realize that all of this takes time, small steps. See, the mind and the ego wants big. What about a small, "Oh, I didn't respond to a stupid question." Usually for decades I responded, "Oh, that's a stupid question." But that first day, I'll never forget when I was in the Chase Bank and someone asked me, "How's your day going?" And it was 9 a.m. And I used to just wanna strangle them with, "What a stupid program question." But that first time, I didn't feel that, ugh, first time. Did I mention I was 70? That's a long time ago. That happened recently, last couple of years. Wow. I'm able to hear stupid questions. Why couldn't it be any sooner, universe? Why did you have to wait so long, universe? No, gradual patience. We're not impatient with babies. We're not impatient with puppies or animals. I mean, come on, babies. Can we be a little bit more loving and patient and kind to ourselves and recognize when it is a program that's taken you over?
Okay, well, I just want to take a moment to also acknowledge divine timing might be a little aspect of this, but beautiful answer, as this entire interview has been. But I have to ask you, what is one thing that you still struggle with? What is a programming
What
you still
kinda
struggle with?
questions? Program questions. Program what do I struggle the struggle, the challenges, and again, it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, I've been a boot camp instructor. This is the hardest, is I have the answer, hold on a second. Up. Prop time. Give me 30 seconds. Not even 30 seconds, 10 seconds. Prop. Stay there. What if I told you I have the answer to all of your problems and all of your challenges for the rest of your life? Would you wanna know what it is?
Of course. A mirror. For those of you who are listening to the audio version.
It's a mirror. Yes. You are that powerful. You are able to practice and value the truth of what this, you know, how do I put this? Hold on, let me just say this. Just going back to the toddler, the peace, the ease, the in the moment of a toddler. Can we get back to that? Can we live there? Can we stay there? Can we practice living there? We're not gonna be embarrassed. We're not gonna be in the past. We're not gonna be in the future. 3-year-old doesn't have any expectations other than, "Hey, I'm hungry. Where's the food?" Yeah, going back to that time. And that's the practice, and that's the goal, and that's the intention. And it falls on every individual. But there's also an acceptance that I know that everybody's different, and I say that we're all avocados. We're all avocados. Some of us are just ripe and it's time. You said something about timing. Some of us, it's just time. And the majority, it's just not time. But it will be time. It's just not this time.
Mm. Well, Incredible. So, as we come to a close, I am curious if you have one woman you're speaking to right now who's listening and she's feeling like she just needs a little bit more peace or happiness with who she is. What do you hope she actually carries with her?
Well, hope is for dopes. It's another program. Sorry. Let me offer this. Let me offer this, a solution, problem solution. If you are committed, focused, and are really wanting to experience more peace, more happiness, more contentment on the journey, this is what I do, and most of my is easy. Go outside in the morning, in the evening, whenever you feel inspired, hands up, palms up, and ask the universe, how do I experience more peace? How do I trust? How do I practice trusting more? How do I live in the present moment? How do I let go of blame? How do I practice being okay in the moment? How do I practice flowing? Ask yourself all those how questions, and you will get answers, and there will be a shift. There will be a change. When? We don't know. How? We don't I mean, yeah, when we don't know, but it will come, and it's trusting. How do I let go of what the world says is important? Scratch what the programmed world says is important.
Wow, that's a great answer. Not to post you up, but I have to ask because now you have my wheels turning. You mentioned earlier about operating from a state of trust way earlier in the episode. So I'm curious, what does a life where you're fully operating from trust look like to you? And what does that mean to you?
Can I ask you what does that mean to you? I mean, why am I getting all the questions? What kinda inequality is this?
Well, you see, I will be very honest in that trust is one of my things that I've been working through. But the way I look at trust is having to, firstly, this isn't supposed to be shade to anybody, but I try not to place my trust in humans necessarily. Not necessarily in a I don't trust people way. So there's a caveat to what I'm about to say. It is like what you were saying about expectations and not having expectations of others. I trust that a higher power, you call it God, source, whatever, I call it source typically, is going to guide and give me the downloads, the person in that moment. So again, while I'm not saying I look to trust people or not trust people, it's more so I trust that in divine timing, the right person, the right connection, the right unfoldment will happen. But ultimately, I'm not just relying on who I know or expecting who I know. It's coming from the divine. So my relationship has been to shift my trust and my viewpoint back to source.
I love that, I was getting chills, and I don't trust these humans. Are you crazy? No. Source, God, universe, it. Because I you know, eh 98% are programmed, number 1. Did I say 98? That's a lot. Yeah, I don't come on. No, I trust God, I trust the universe, I trust source, but these humans, they're up and down, they're up and down, they're programmed. How do I trust a program that can be here or there, here or there? Zero expectation. Let's start very simple. Practice having zero expectations for self and for others, and know that you whoever you are, myself included, are in the perfect place. If it's happening right now, it's supposed to be happening. If it's not, it's not. It's not. It's not supposed to be happening. It's very simple. Look out into nature. These animals aren't running around, hey. No, everything is in order. And it's the same here.
Mm, beautiful. Which now you have my wheels turning, girl. But I have to ask because you just hit on a beautiful point and we've talked and touched on timing. So at what point, because you've lived this through decades, so say you get a download.
Are you trying to say I'm old? That's
You're
okay.
wise. You're
And old.
wise.
I'm old and wise. Yes, go ahead.
So say you've gotten a download for an idea. And to your point, it's something that hasn't manifested yet. At what point
Mm.
have you decided, I trust the timing of the unfoldment, and maybe it's just not the right timing? Or do you pivot?
What a great triggering question. The whole manifesting bullshit. Oops. No, she didn't say that. Listen, does the universe need anything to manifest? What is going to manifest let me back up a little bit. Oh, you don't wanna do you wanna open up this can of worms?
I do.
Okay, if you're listening, just, if you can't see, I have my hand on my forehead and I'm leaning forward and it's one of those, that kind of look. Now, this whole program belief that humans can manifest something out of nothing is just another program. Manifest a new star. Manifest a new planet, manifest a tree, manifest a cure for cancer, manifest yourself 3 inches taller. In this realm, I let me back up just a little bit. I am living God's will. I am living the universe's will. I
Mhm.
have 0 desires, I have 0 wants other than what God wants for me. I mean, I used to. Are you kidding? Of course. No, I've given up. Whatever God has in store for me, I will experience it. And if it's for me, I will definitely experience it. If it's not, I won't. Getting back to the manifesting, that's another, oh my goodness. Oof. Not you, but the world sells dissatisfaction. Be dissatisfied. Oh, oh, see, I'm going to get a lot of email. The manifest. Oh, I'll teach you how to manifest the lifestyle. Okay, let me just play along. Okay, you manifested this lifestyle. Will Smith has a lifestyle, not happy. So the things the thinking that something that you achieve or you get is going to change the way that you feel inside or change your energy to contentment or satisfaction has nothing to do with anything external.
Mhm. Well, I have a caveat for that
Of
because
course you
what
do.
if Of course I do. Um, but what if perhaps the journey you go on for the external, whether that's a business, a book, or whatever it is that you're having on your heart, what if the whole point of it though is the process, the journey? So technically, and now you got my wheels turning again. But okay, so you're saying you believe in God's will, and I'm all for that. What role of free will does that play in for you?
Oh, no. No, no, she didn't. Oh, no, she didn't start to do the free will stuff. Woo! You can his name is Doctor, what's his first? Robert Sapolsky. Robert Sapolsky, he wrote a book called Determined. He's a professor at Stanford. I think he's retired now. decades and decades of studying behavior, and he gives a you can find a debate on YouTube, about this free will. He says scientifically it can be proven that there is no such thing, and he gives examples. So I'm not here to scientifically it means, but yeah, free will, I believe that the universe is living out what it wants to live out through this human body. I am a wave. I'm a wave in the ocean, so I'm part of the ocean, but I'm an individual wave. And whatever the universe wants to experience, guess what? It's gonna experience it through me. So yeah, whatever your will is, my free will, let me go back. Let me go back. Let's see, there was a very famous what was his name? Jesus! That's right. And this is when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He didn't wanna be crucified. He didn't wanna, be tortured, and he was struggling with it, struggling, and, I mean, he knew what was gonna happen. Painful too. "No, take this cross away. I don't want no, no." What? The anguish, the back and forth, the struggle, and then at the end, he said, "God's will." We're the same, meaning all of this is God's will,
Hmm.
and if God wills it to happen, it's going to happen. If not, it's not. So this is not in my hands,
Interesting perspective.
but the mind will tell you, "No, I'm making it happen. No, 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 this is yeah." See, that's the mind. And so there's a big difference. That's why I separate myself from the mind. Mind is not my friend.
Fair enough. So, last question before we head into our quick fire round. My gosh, you are definitely a fun person to try to challenge. If happiness isn't something we find outside of ourselves, what is it truly?
It's an internal state of peace. The example I would give if you're in a rowboat on the Atlantic Ocean all by yourself, standing, not sitting, standing. A tsunami and the waves, rain comes, boat is rocking and rocking and rocking. That's life. But you're at peace always. There couldn't be a big enough storm to take your peace away. That's happiness, that's peace, that's the energy that I'm talking about. Forget the words, the energy. Words are very limiting.
Beautiful answer. And I love that you ended it with words are very limiting. So, if you're listening to this right now, maybe just analyze what words you're using and what perspective you're using it from. So, I always end the show with what I like to call a quick fire round.
Oh god. No, go ahead.
So, think one word to a sentence answer, and it's whatever is the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready for me?
Hold on a second, let me just share a little bit. Now, you see that so it's a word, now I gotta come up with the word. Okay, if I say the same word over and over and over and over again, go ahead. Just know that I'm indicating that's program whatever, go ahead, go. Hit me with what you got.
A book that's changed your life.
The Eye of the Eye by David Hawkins, Doctor David
Hi.
Hawkins. Do you know who Doctor David Hawkins is?
I am familiar with his work. I have not read that one.
Yes, the I of the I. EYE of the I, letter I.
Ooh.
It's
Okay,
deep.
a word that describes your current season. Please don't say summer.
Word is a season. Well, my season? What's my season, huh? I have a season? What are you talking about? Uh, word that describes my season. Aware. Awareness.
Beautiful. A daily non negotiable that fuels your power.
Daily non-negotiable. Lose consciousness. Oh, that's 2 words. Loss of consciousness. That's unacceptable for me. I know it's more than
No,
1
it's
word.
to fuel your power.
Oh, to fuel my power. I thought you said lose my power. Fuel my power.
No,
Consciousness.
fair enough. She went with opposites there. A song that instantly lifts your mood.
A thought?
A song.
Oh, a song. Oh, there's so many. You know, Drake's new Iceman is out. Okay, here we go. It's, Too Hard for the Radio. For the radio. Don't think I'm not with the kids now. I know, Drake and Kendrick, let's go. Iceman, too hard for the radio. Too hard for the fucking radio. You didn't think I knew that, did you?
Oh my god.
That's the latest.
Okay. Shit. You might actually be more with the music industry than I am right now. So, complete this sentence. The woman you're meant to be is
I'm in pain. The woman I meant to be is exactly where I am, who I am.
a thing you want women to stop apologizing for.
Just stop apologizing, period. Women and men. Stop apologizing for anything, please. Nothing. There are no mistakes.
Well, that is a different perspective for sure. I love it. There are no mistakes. Everything happens in divine timing, in the perfect place, in the perfect way. So, Rebecca, I just want to really take a moment to honor you and to thank you so much for spending time with us. This turned into a full-on masterclass filled with divine timing and lessons about what it takes to re-record an episode. My hope, granted, I guess hope is dead.
No, hope is for dopes. Keep going. Hope is for dopes.
Okay,
No
noted.
offense. No offense.
Is that every woman who's listening to this walks away with a reminder that happiness is not another destination to chase. It's a relationship that we cultivate with ourselves. So, before we end off, the very last question is, since you're amazing, where can people connect with you? And what are you excited about?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You can connect with me. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. That's RebeccaNorrington.com. I'm live every Sunday on YouTube at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called Reality Spirituality. Every week it's a different topic. And where else? Oh, I'm on Instagram, Reality Spirituality, LinkedIn, TikTok.
Links will be down below, but I just meant
Yes.
what is your favorite platform to hang out on?
Hang
She
out
squints
on.
her lip. Yeah.
I
How do you prefer to connect with people?
I don't like people. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean to say that out loud. And that's the other thing. Can we just lighten up about all of this? Where do I connect with people? Well, I like watching YouTube videos. I like watching my latest video, the latest one. Oh, this is mind-blowing. Hold on. Oh, did I turn off the phone? This is so good. It's a 3-hour video on YouTube, no ads. I've got to get the title. I just had to turn my phone on. This is my latest. I've been listening to this for the last 3 days. It is mind-blowing. Hold on. I have to share this. The phone is turning on. I took a picture of this. Okay, it's called, where is it? Oh, crud. Okay. 3 hours. Okay, the channel is called Buddha's Footsteps 2. Buddha's Footsteps 2, and the title of this talk is 3 hours of Buddhism to build inner strength while you sleep.
Mm,
It's really good.
beautiful. Well, I'm going to just formally say thank you again for shining your light on the show. And I am sure that this is one that's going to leave people a little bit mind blown about all their programming and conditioning.
I have a homework assignment for you, my dear Anita.
Go for it.
We will never discuss what happened today ever again. Oh, I had to record this 3 times. I remember I had to record. We will never discuss it. There's no reason, ever. That's just a little homework assignment. We're not gonna share it with our friends. We're not gonna share it with the family. This is what happened. It's just between us. It's over. Next moment.
Well, between us and the listeners.
Yeah, don't tell anybody, listeners.
Fair enough. We are good. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for spreading your light. And for those of you who are listening, if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to connect with Rebecca and I. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what maybe broke your mind. And if you are listening to this, please share it with a woman who might need it. Lord knows there's a lot of conditioning we all have to work through. So until this next time, that is all for this episode.
Later, alligators.
Bye, guys.